live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. Is soundlessness a type of sound or total soundlessness? Soundlessness is also known as Anhad Nad. Nad means sound, Anhad means the uncreated. Anhad Nad or soundlessness is not a type of sound, instead it is soundlessness. But this soundlessness has a unique quality, it is heard. To express it is very difficult. Then logical question arises of how soundlessness can be heard. If it is uncreated, how it can be created? Let me take an example, explain to you with an example. You are watching this live streaming, you are seeing me sitting on this chair which has something embroidered gold at the back. You are seeing me. If I go away from this chair, you will not see my absence in the chair, because you know that I was sitting on this chair. So if I am not there, you will not feel my absence in the chair. But this absence can be seen by one who has not seen me sitting here. He will simply see the empty chair. But a moment before, I was sitting on the chair and you have seen me sitting here. If I move away and you look at the chair, you will see two things. You will see the chair and my absence, that some time ago I was sitting and now I am not there. So you are seeing the chair and my absence, that I am not here. But this absence will be seen only if you have seen me sitting on the chair. One who has come afterwards, when I have moved away from the chair, will see the chair empty. But you who has seen me sitting on the chair will not forget this. You will remember that I was there. Another example can be given. When you go to the khanka of the master or the commune, you see the master sitting at a particular place from where he talks to the seekers. Then one day the master is no more physically alive. So when you go there, you will see first of all the master sitting there, a presence. But then you will see this is emptiness. Another example, You are watching this live streaming. You are seeing that I am sitting on the chair. There is a microphone in front of me. And then you close your eyes. You are not seeing me, but you are hearing me. My presence is not there. When your eyes were open, it was presence, fullness. Now it is presentlessness. We are hearing sounds, so we only know sounds. But when sound is not there or soundlessness comes, this soundlessness is also known as anhad nad. Unheard, uncreated sound. We feel that every sound has disappeared, and then you will feel the presence. You were seeing the master. Now the master is not there, but you are feeling the presence. You are feeling the absence simultaneously. That is why the sound which has disappeared, an absence is felt. This is anhad nad. You are sitting in a room. The room is full. When you take out everything, you are not seeing anything. You will feel the emptiness. When the sounds, all sounds have disappeared, the absence will be felt. It is called anhad nad. It is also called nad. Nad means sound, but anhad changes the quality of the sound. Anhad means uncreated. The sound was there, but sound has dissolved. So sound is created and it dissolves. But uncreated sound is it is called uncreated. It is not created. It is just the sound of the being. The sound that is not created, yet still there is a sound. You are hearing me, there is sound. Now you close your ears. You will not hear the sound, but you will hear something which is not created. The sound is created, the sound dissolves in the valley, and then you hear an echo. Echo is not created, it is uncreated. Every sound is created sound. Whenever sounds are heard, any sound, they are all created. That which is created will vanish one day, will dissolve one day, will die. You clap your hands, sound is created. It was not before, and now it is no more, because the clapping of the sound was in a moment. A moment before the sound was not there, and a moment after it is not there. It was created and then it died. A created sound is known as ahat sound. Ahat means somebody is walking and there is a presence. All of a sudden you hear a knock at the door. You are partly asleep. This is ahat, the whispering sound. The uncreated sound is known as anahat naad, the one that is not created, that sound that is always there. Which is that sound which always exists? It is not really a sound. You can call it a sound because absence is heard. You had been seeing the Master always whenever you went. Now after his passing away, you are not seeing, but you are seeing the absence of the Master. If you can live by the railway station, one day the train goes, the railway union or there is a strike, there is a lockdown. The sound is not created, but you will hear something no one can hear because you are accustomed to listening to the sound of the train passing at a particular time. Now there is a strike, the trains are not moving today, but you can hear the sound. This is not sound really, this is uncreated sound. You will hear the absence of the trains moving up and down. If you are traveling, those who are traveling regularly and continuously, at least for 3/4 of the month, in the beginning they will find very difficult to sleep in the train or the flight because it is, and then when you return, and then slowly and slowly you become accustomed sleeping with the sound, and then when you come home, that sound is not there and you will find it difficult to sleep. Difficult to sleep. At a time you were not able to sleep in the flight or in the train, and now the sound of the train is missed. The sound of the aircraft moving is missed. Whenever you reach home, it would be difficult because you are missing the sound. You are missing the sound. This is one way of saying. The other way is that you will feel the absence of the sound of the moving aircraft. Normally we are accustomed to sounds. Every moment is filled with sound of one thing or the other. You would have observed, if you are living by the busy roadside, whole day the sound of the cars blowing the horn, moving cars, you will be hearing. But in the night, there is dead silence, no cars moving on the street, no sound. You are feeling the absence of the sound that you are so accustomed to. If you are staying near a factory or where machines are running. I will give you one more example. The place, my business place, it has 2 freezers and 1 chiller. So the condensers of the freezer are placed in the back room, separated by a door, but that of the chiller have not been able to remove as yet. Then air conditioner runs. So there is a constant sound in the place. Yesterday there was a problem with the chiller. The technician came to check it and he switched off the condenser. So a sound that I was accustomed hearing in that place, loud sound, was not there, it was absent. And in a way it was soundlessness. There is no sound, yet still, as I was accustomed to listening to the sound of the condensers, the 2 condensers creating the noise or the sound, is no more, it has dissolved. Its absence is felt, which is not created. We are accustomed to the sounds, as I said, we are accustomed to the sounds. I was accustomed to hearing that sound. Every moment it was filled with sound. Our heads are constantly filled by the sound and sound and sounds. The sound of the air conditioner is very low, not as loud as the condenser. So when the condenser was switched off, I was not hearing the sound. The sound was not there, but its absence was heard. That is soundlessness. I wonder what had happened. There is no sound. So when your mind goes away, moves up and down, goes beyond or below, when you are not in the world of the sounds, you can hear its absence. That absence is soundlessness. It is not created, that is why it is called anhadnad. But we have called this soundlessness. The technical term, when the sound is not there, it is absence of sound or soundlessness. It is called anhadnad because it is heard, we call it nad or sound, and because it is not heard, and it is not really a sound, it is uncreated, we call it anhad, uncreated sound. The uncreated sound is contradictory. Sound is created, uncreated, it is a contradiction as far as logic is concerned. So all deep experiences of life have to be expressed in contradictory terms. You have been accustomed seeing the master sitting in a place, and after the demise of the master you appear. You are not seeing him, but you are feeling his presence. So isn't it contradictory? So all deep experiences, whether it is sound or vision or the presence, it has to be expressed in contradictory terms. If you go and ask a master like Eckhart or Jacob Boehme or Zen masters like any of the Zen master, Hui or Huang Po or Bodhidharma or Nagarjuna or Vedanta and the Upanishads, everywhere you will find two contradictory terms. Whenever a deeper experience is talked about, the Vedas said, he is and he is not about God. It is and it is not. He is and he is not. You cannot find more aesthetic expression. He is and he is not. Simultaneously, he is far away and is far and he is near. Something that is very close to your vision, in order to see something, you need a distance. And if the object is very near, it is, but you are not seeing it. He is far away and also near. Why contradictory statements? The Upanishad says you cannot see him, but unless you see him, you have not seen anything. Logic wants to know what type of language is this. You cannot see him, but unless you see him, you have not seen anything. Lao Tzu's language and expression is totally contradictory. He says that truth cannot be said, and yet he is saying it. This too is saying truth cannot be said, and he is saying it. This too is a saying that it cannot be seen. He says that truth cannot be said. If it is said, it cannot be true. Tao that is expressed is not Tao. He writes a book and says something about the truth, but it is contradictory. That is why Lao Tzu never wrote anything in his lifetime. When his time was coming to an end, he decided to go to Himalayan mountain to spend the remaining part of his life. He has to cross a checkpost. On the checkpost there was a guard. He has been following Lao Tzu all his life, and in a way he was disciple. He was in charge of the checkpost. He said, I will not let you cross this checkpost unless you write something. Lao Tzu wanted to go to the Himalayan mountain, so he had no choice but to sit down in the hut of that checkpost and wrote Tao Te Ching. Tao we pronounce it as Tao, but it is Tao Te Ching. Lao Tzu says truth cannot be said, and he is saying it. This too is a saying that it cannot be said. He says that truth cannot be said. If it is said, truth cannot be said. If it is said, it cannot be true, then why are you saying it? Then he writes a book and says something about the truth, and whatever he writes is contradictory. One student came to a great sage. The student said, "If you can forgive me, Master, I want to relate to you something about myself." The student told the Master, "If you allow me, I want to relate to you something about myself. I have become an atheist. Now I do not believe in God." So the sage asks, "For how many days have you been studying the scriptures?" "For how many days?" So the man, the seeker, the student said, "Near about 20 years I have been studying the scriptures, the Vedas." So the old man sighed and said, "Just 20 years? And you have nerves to say that you have become an atheist? Just 20 years you have been studying the Vedas, the scriptures, the Upanishads, and you have nerves to say that you are atheist?" The student was puzzled. What was this old man saying? So he said, "I am puzzled. What are you saying? You make me more confused than when I came here." The old man said, "Go on studying the scriptures. In the beginning, one says God is. Only in the end, one says God is not. In the beginning, one says God is. Only in the end does one say God is not. To become an atheist, you will have to travel into theism. The concept of God is. God is at the beginning. God is at the end. Do not be in a hurry." The student got more puzzled. God is in the beginning. God is in the end. What about the middle? God is and God is not has been uttered by all those who have said, who have known. God is uttered by those who do not know God. If you say God is, and every time you say God, or you say Inshallah, Inshallah, all the Muslims, any sentence or a half a sentence, a word, Inshallah, as if they know Inshallah. So everyone, God is and God is not, has been uttered by those who know. Those who know, they say God is and God is not. Contradictory. And God is uttered by those who do not know about God. Understand it. All those people who with every syllable say Inshallah, they do not know God. And God is not is also uttered by those who have not experienced, who do not know. Those who know, they utter both simultaneously. God is and God is not. Those who do not know, they keep on repeating Like a parrot, inshallah, God is, every sentence God. And those who do not know, they say God is not. Only those who know, who has experienced, they utter both simultaneously, God is and God is not. Anat-nad, therefore, is a contradictory term, but is used with deep understanding, much consideration. It is meaningful. It says that the phenomena is felt. If the presence of the Master is a phenomena, it is felt as a sound, and it is not a sound. The absence of the Master is felt as a presence. When you go and you see the Master is not there, but you are feeling the presence of the Master. The phenomena is felt as a presence, and it is not a presence. It is felt as a sound because you have only felt sounds. You have felt only the presence, and you do not know the other language. You know only the language of the sounds, the language of affirmation, the language of the presence. Presence or the sound is the language of affirmation. That is why it is felt as sound, but it is silence. The absence is simply absence. It is not presence. And the question is further asked, explain which way the state of soundlessness can be equal to this state of soundlessness. The state of soundfulness can be when you are hearing a sound which is created, it is soundfulness. When it is absent, it is soundlessness. The zero and the absolute both mean the same. The absence and presence. Presence is absolute, and zero is absence. So zero and absolute mean the same thing but contradictory terms. For example, if I have a cup which is completely empty, and I have another cup which is completely filled, both are complete. In what way? One is completely empty, another is completely filled. But both are complete, both are perfect. If the cup is half filled, it is half filled and half empty. You can say it cup is half empty or cup is half filled. Does it not mean the same thing? You can call it half empty, you can call it half filled, but whether it is completely empty or completely filled, one thing is common: both are completeness, completely empty and completely filled is completeness. This you would have seen. Soundlessness is complete, but you cannot do anything more to make it more soundless. Understand this. Soundlessness is complete. Nothing can be added to it. Nothing can be done to it. You have come to a point beyond which there is no movement possible. And if a sound is total, nothing can be added to it. You have come to another limit. You cannot go beyond this. This is common, and this is what is meant. One can say soundlessness, no sound is heard, everything has become absent. You cannot take anything further beyond it. You cannot take anything from it. It is complete. Or you can say it is a complete sound, a full sound, an absolute sound. Nothing can be added to it. In both cases, the indication is for perfection. Just as the emptiness, the jar which is empty, it is completely empty. Completely is the common word. And if it is full, it is completely full, means nothing can be added to it. But in both cases, the indication is for perfection, absoluteness, or wholeness. It all depends on the mind. There are two types of minds. And with two types of mind comes two types of expressions. For example, if you ask a Buddha what will happen in deep meditation, when one achieves to samadhi, what will happen? He will say, there will be no sorrow, there will be no suffering, there will be no pain. He will never say there will be bliss. There will be no pain will be the answer of Buddha. He will simply say there will be no pain or just a state of painlessness. And if you ask Shankar, because Buddha's mind is of negation, Shankar's mind is of affirmation. And if you ask Shankar, he will never talk about pain. He will simply say there will be bliss, absolute bliss. And both are expressing the same experience. The ultimate in meditation, the samadhi, Buddha says no pain, refers to the world and says all the pains I have known will not be there. And whatsoever is there, I cannot relate it in your language. Shankar says there is bliss, absolute bliss. He never talks about pain, the language of affirmation. He is not referring to your world. Remember, pain belongs to your world and not to the world of Shankar. He is not referring to your world, he is referring to the experience itself. He is positive, he is affirmative. Buddha is negation. But their indications are towards the same moon. Their fingers are different, but what their fingers indicate is important. Tomorrow I may take it into another way, otherwise it is the end of this question, and we may take, depending on what happens. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.